Hey everybody, welcome to the Premium Picks UFC 296 Bet Show, where we're going to give you our favorite play or plays for each fight on the card. So this is strictly from a financial point of view, what we like, what we don't like. Please like and subscribe. If you aren't aware, the fight order has changed. Two fights have gotten scrapped. Ian Gary is sick. He is off the card. And Randy Brown is also sick. He just got pulled from the card as well. So we're now down to 12 fights. It's still a great card. Let's break it down. First fight of the night, we got Shamil Gaziev, 11-0 versus Martin Buday, 13-1. If you watched our earlier video in the week with our actual breakdowns, I thought this guy was pretty live as an underdog, and he still might be, and it's mostly because we don't like Martin Buday. But as the week's gone on, I'm starting to feel like, you know what, Buday's probably going to win this fight, guys. He probably is, and it's probably going to be a boring Buday fight where he either wins it on points or this guy who's 11-0 with all these first round finishes can't keep up for 3 rounds and maybe he gets a later finish. So I'm liking Buday and over 1.5 rounds. But honestly, it's not going to be a big play for me regardless. What's your favorite play on this fight?
I'm starting to like Buday too, so it's kind of weird that you said that. I know we were talking a few minutes before, but yeah, as the week's gone on, the odds have tightened and Buday is looking better and better every time. I do like the over 1.5 as a single at -180. Buday, he tries to like lengthen these fights, and nothing really gets finished in the first round aside from Gaziev. He might finish in the first round, but I see this going a little later. I see these guys slobber knocking around over the place. Another good look, like you said, was Buday by decision is plus 260. I mean, I think the majority of the fights in the UFC have ended in decisions, some wet blanket decisions, some hold them up against the corner decisions. So, yeah, I don't have much to say about Shamil. I expect it. He still might knock him out, but Buday has shown that he's at least a tiny bit durable from what I've seen. So, yeah.
And for the record, I'm rooting for Shamil to win. I think Buday is boring as fuck. I want Shamil to knock his ass out. I just, as the week's gone on, I'm starting to think it's less likely than I was hoping for. But I still hope he does it. I do hope he does it.
I think you're right. I think you're right. I agree to completely.
All right, moving on to the next prelim, we got Andre Fili, 22-10, the favorite, -170 versus Lucas Almeida, 14-2, slight underdog. Lucas Almeida, great striker. I still think he is live for a knockout. And Andre Fili, he's very inconsistent. He's a very good fighter. He is good. And some fights, he's got serious dog in him. He can take a punch. He likes to go to war. And then other fights, he gets dropped out of nowhere. So this fight scares me. I think Fili's the better fighter. I think he's the more well-rounded fighter. But the Lucas Almeida knockout, like if he's going to win, it's because he's a big puncher. He's not going to submit him, and I don't think he's going to win a decision, to be honest. So if you're looking for a little single play, I would stab Lucas Almeida knockout on a single, a small spray, the plus 250 knockout. It's not fantastic, but either way, it's not a parlay piece. It's not a parlay fight for me. What do you see here?
It actually just went up as you're talking. It's plus 275 now, the knockout. So I like that knockout. I like Fili by decision, plus 210. I feel like all the finish equity is on the Lucas side. If Fili's going to win this, he's going to wet blanket him and he's going to have to wrestle. If he wants to wrestle, then the over 1.5 at -140 looks kind of juicy. But like there's a little caveat to that as well, because if Lucas finishes him, it'll be before the round and a half, right? But the round and a half is live if Fili wants to wrestle. It's just the IQ is tough to bet on. So yeah, I feel like they're at a lower weight class, so over 1.5 is my favorite bet. But if you want to bet two sides, Fili by decision or Lucas by knockout.
Yep. All right, moving on. We got Tagir Ulanbekov, 14-2, the slight favorite over Cody Durden, 16-4 and 1. Earlier in the week, I really wanted to bet Durden, and now I'm getting cold feet, and it feels like something I just don't even really want to play. Obviously, if Durden can use his wrestling, he can win the fight, but it's not like Ulanbekov's a bad grappler, and I think Ulanbekov's the better technical striker, I think. But there's just no confidence. They're actually very evenly matched, I think, and that the odds do reflect that. and for that reason, it's just not something I don't even think I have a play. Like, I have a lot of bets, and this is one I haven't touched yet. What about you?
I like Durden. I do. I think
Yeah,
I think he wet blankets him. I think Ulanbekov is a good fighter, don't get me wrong, but if Durden can keep his neck out of the guillotine when he shoots, I don't know. I feel like he can wear out Ulanbekov. So Durden plus 140 is good. Durden by decision, so he's not going to knock out Ulanbekov. He's not going to tap him out. He's going to wet blanket him. That's what he's going to do, and he's going to just outwork him. Plus 230 looks good on the decision line. That's pretty much all I like. I mean, underdog money by itself,
yeah.
and with these fights, the line's widening, right? And it seems like a lot of money coming on at Ulanbekov over this week. So I do tend to when I watch the lines, I do tend to fade the public money and always go on the other side. So it's kind of those fights where the money is dictating what I thought in the first place are the fights I feel more strongly about.
I like it. I like it. All right, moving on. I think this is a very fun prelim. We got a striker versus striker. We got Alonzo Menifield, 14-3-1 against Dustin Jacoby, 19-7-1. I don't think anybody is going to argue that Jacoby is the more technical striker. I mean, this guy was a glory kickboxing fighter. Very, very good. Very, very technical. Appears to be more of a point fighter, kind of a pitter-patter. He did get the finish last fight, so maybe he's turning the page here. And then you got Menifield, who can be low output and can kind of gas. Now, when he's super explosive, so he's always going to be live for the knockout. And Jacoby did get dropped a couple fights ago by Mirzakhanov.
Yep.
So, I mean, it's not like Jacoby's got a rock iron chin, but he's never gone out. Like, even though he got dropped that fight, he didn't go out cold, nothing like that. So you got to favor the better striker, the more technical guy, and hope that his chin holds up through that first round. The first round, Menifield's going to be live. So I do like Jacoby to get this done. But hey, Menifield's not a bad fighter. And 14-3-1, I think people are kind of sleeping on this guy. He's not bad by any means. He killed Jimmy Crute, and I don't know if Jimmy Crute's terrible or if Menifield's better than we think he is. So this fight will answer.
Retirement, bro. He's retired.
Yeah, exactly. So this fight is going to tell us a lot about Alonzo Menifield. If Menifield wins this fight, he is for real. But until he beats Jacoby, I have to favor the more technical guy here. And I would say Jacoby over 1.5. He might get the finish late just because Menifield will gas. But over 1.5 for extra points for me. What do you think?
Menifield only gasses when he goes too hard in the first round. He's been pacing himself a little bit better these days. That's why he's been making it past the round and a half mark. So I like Jacoby. I don't like him as like a top ticket kind of play, but I do like him. I just can't. The method is kind of hard for me to pick. I do like the over 1.5. So that with Jacoby pretty much gets you pretty close to plus money. The decision's only plus 180. I think I need more juice. I need over plus 200, 220 on the decision if I'm going to play that. And the knockout's plus 162. I don't think he knocks him out. Menifield's chin is pretty good, and he only gets knocked out when he gets tired. I don't see him getting tired unless he like knocks down Jacoby in round 1 and goes buck on him or something like that. Then Jacoby's just going to finish him in round 2 because that's just the way fights go sometimes. But yeah, Jacoby plus the 1.5 is the best I can do here.
All right, moving on. We got a women's MMA fight. I'm actually looking at the props right now to see if there's anything I can play here. But we got Casey O'Neill, 9-1 versus Ariane Lipski 16-8. Lipski's been improving every fight. She's looking great. So it's very tempting to almost want to stab her here because, I mean, O'Neill's coming off a loss and Lipski's on a little bit of a heater here. The problem for me is I do think O'Neill's just a little bit too big. I think she will be able to grind it, but it's not enough for me to want to play it. Why would I put my money on this fight? Like, to me, there's just way better spots. You don't need to put your money on this. I like all the overs, but looking at the overs, they're pretty juiced. So I can't find anything I truly like here. I don't want any unders. So fight to go the distance minus 180. I still don't like it. I mean, you got Lipski over 1.5 plus 250. If you're on the Lipski side, that might be the best you're going to get because she's not going to knock out Casey O'Neill. O'Neill's a tough girl. And then you got O'Neill. There's just nothing I like here. What do you see?
So that was pretty cool, though. You said Lipski plus 1.5 is plus 250. her decision line's plus 260. So folks,
One and a half.
yeah, see, do the 1.5s from time to time, right? Because it does save you that 1.5 rounds. Because for $10, I'll take the juice for a round and a half just to be like a little bit more sure. Um, the odds are tightening. You said what was she earlier in the week? Like 170 -170-ish?
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah, she's minus
I think that's
170.
I think that's exactly what she was.
Yeah, minus 170. Now she's a minus 190. So money's coming in on O'Neal. So that means I like Lipski, so that's the way I go. Lipski dog money, Lipski by decision because you said that was Casey's really durable. So those are my best leans. If you really, really want to do the minus 180, it's not bad. Both girls seem like, durable enough. I just think Lipski is, I don't know, she's doing better.
She's got more momentum.
That I watched that Roxanne fight, and it really gets me that she put down 200, almost 200 strikes, and still got a split decision. So it's weird. It's either the judges or they just don't like what she's doing. And like that's our fear with Jacoby. Those are our fear with some punchers, right? That they just don't. The judges don't look like what they're doing. At least Lipski comes. She's the harder hitter out of the two, right? So some MMA's weird now. The harder hitters are getting the rub over the guys that throw the volume, and it's not the way it used to be. And so you got to change your capping to that style now because everything's a little bit different.
Yep. All right, moving on. We got Cody Nochin Gardbrandt, 13-5, the minus 200 favorite over Brian Kelleher, 24-14, the plus 170 underdog. I did say in our breakdowns earlier in the week, I thought Cody was the better fighter. I think this is a fight he should win. Part of me still thinks that. I mean, he should have the better hands, and he should be the better wrestler. Maybe not grappler, but wrestler. But you know what? Like, I just have no faith in the guy. And you know what? He hasn't been chinned in the last fight or two. So now I feel like he is going to get chinned. So I flipped. I'm almost on the Brian Kelleher knockout because I do not think that Garbrandt loses a decision if it goes the distance. Like, I think he's like I said, the better fighter. So if it gets drawn out goes the distance, I think Garbrandt wins. Inside the distance, I think Kelleher knocks him out because that chin is glass, in my opinion. So not a parlay piece, but my sprinkle would be Kelleher knockout plus 450 or the submission is plus 850. I don't think he's going to tap Gardbrandt, to be honest. So I'm thinking the knockout plus 450. Don't love anything about it. It would be a single piece. What do you think?
This week has gone on, and I hate myself, but I have loved like Cody Garbrandt a lot more than I did earlier this week. He's the far superior fighter in this spot, far superior. Kelleher, I looked at those last few wins. He wet blanketed the Pilarte. He wet blanketed Kroom. He never did anything. He only has like one or two knockouts in the UFC over a 6-year span. He's not a power puncher. He has power in his hands, but he's not a power puncher. The knockout is the way to hedge against Cody, but I think Cody by decision plus 200 is pretty good. Cody over 1.5 plus 115 is really good. I think this fight is over because Brian's tough little SOB. And if Cody fights the way he fought in the last fight, he's stringing people along now because he can't do what he did in those Munoz fights because he knows his shin can't hold up. So that's where good fighters come into play. Cody, fight IQ, Uriah Faber, team alpha male, good camp. Cody Garbrandt by decision is really what I like.
All right. And moving on, we got our last women's MMA fight of the night. We got former title challenger Irene Aldana, 14-7. She is the minus 200 favorite, coming in against 17-5 Carol Rosa, the plus 170 underdog. Funny, Rosa does have the better record, and you know what? She's fought a lot of veterans too, so it's funny to see those odds. Maybe it's just because Aldana is coming out of the title match, so they think she's the way better fighter. But I think this fight's actually pretty close. Irene is just way bigger, so if she can utilize that strength to grind and get some takedowns of her own, I think that's her path. I'm not so sure that she's a way better striker. Like, I feel like Rosa might even have the volume. But for me, either way, this fight's got decision written all over it. So I think whatever side you're on, it's by decision. I cannot in any way possible imagine a finish in this fight. So I think your best plays here are going to be Aldana decision, takes her from a minus 200 favorite to plus 115, or Rosa decision plus 210. But she's a plus 170 favorite. So no, if you're on Rosa, it's money line. And if you're on Aldana, it's some kind of over. What do you think?
I flipped because I rewatched Aldana and she gets taken down in pretty much all her fights. Even the fight she wins, she's losing beforehand. One that really stuck out at me was the Macy Chiasson fight, where she came out hot in the first round, hit her with some hard punches, but then got wet blanketed in the second, then got wet blanketed in the third. And if it wasn't from the up kick from hell, she would have lost that fight, right? So, I mean, like you said, Rosa by decision is 210, but
It's only 40 points more.
right, but Rosa 1.5 is plus 200.
There's the one.
That's the one. I feel like that's a nice little medium bet. Get your extra $30. You think I like Rosa doesn't get finished. Aldana is so low volume, and it's the IQ, man. This isn't Rosa is like the Andre Fili of women because you don't know where the fucking fight IQ. What the fuck? If she came in and just would wrestle, she would win. If Andre Fili came in and just wrestled, but you can't get into these mind games with these guys, so it's tough to call. This fight's closer than the odds say. I flip to the Rosa side, and I'll figure out a way to play her. But that one, Rosa plus the 1.5 at plus 200, I like it.
All right. All right, guys, moving on to the main card. If you haven't already, please like and subscribe. We do appreciate it. We got a new main card. Like I said, Ian Gary got sick and pulled out, pissed a lot of people off. But hey, if you're sick, you're sick. Whatever. What can I say? They've moved up Josh Emmett and Bryce Mitchell. You know what? That's a main card worthy fight, anyways. To be honest, it might drag out a little bit, but whatever. It is a good contenders fight here. We got Josh Emmett. Sorry for babbling on. 18-4. He is the underdog coming in at plus 187, and you got Bryce Mitchell 16-1 coming in at minus 225. In our breakdowns, I said I thought Emmett was very live. I thought that, hey, he does have a good wrestling background. Maybe this guy can stuff the takedowns and light Bryce up on the feet. As the week's gone on, I've thought, you know what? Emmett hasn't really used his wrestling in forever. And even if he does, like, let's just say he can stuff every takedown, he's still extremely low volume and throws like big looping overhand rights. I don't think he's knocking Bryce Mitchell out. Bryce Mitchell didn't get knocked out by Topuria. He got tapped out. He got ragdolled. He got owned, but he didn't get KO'd. So I do not think Josh Emmett's going to knock him out. In fact, Josh Emmett hasn't really knocked out anyone in a long time. Sure, you'll see his old highlights, but that was in the past. He's getting older. I do not see him knocking Bryce Mitchell out. So then it becomes, if Bryce Mitchell gets him down, he dominates wrestling, potentially even submits him. If he can't get him down, he still does have volume. He's an awkward, herky-jerky kicker, striker, but he still has the volume. So I just think regardless, I'm now on the Bryce Mitchell side. His money line is minus 225, and his decision submission line is minus 180. So really, that's not a whole lot of points, but there's just no way I see him knocking him out. So those are really the only plays. I don't really love the odds, but I do think Mitchell wins the fight. Do you see anything here you like?
Bryce by submission is plus 350. I feel like there's going to be a lot of ground time. I like the Bryce money line. I think I don't say he ragdolls him. I just think Bryce does Bryce things, and Emmett eventually runs out of the gas. That's all. Yeah. But, on paper, Emmett's the better wrestler, per se. But yeah, there's no measure for the farm boy strength, right? And I've seen Bryce take guys down just that way.
And wrestling or not, his grappling is still way better. Like he is actually very smooth with his technique. Like he does wrap the legs very well. Like he does get the body triangles. He does like some of the transitions he did with Ige, and I know Ige's a lot smaller, but they were smooth, man. Like he does have technique.
And he took down Topuria as well in that fight. If you guys remember that as well, so. He went up, he took down a high level. Topuria is just stronger, faster, younger than Emmett, right? You know what I mean? I don't expect Emmett to he doesn't have that ground game. Wrestlers, when they get on the bottom, they more or less look like a fish out of water. They're only good when they get on top, dominate, and then, Josh Emmett averages like a takedown a fight, but he had 8 of those in one fight. So he doesn't really average 8 takedowns a fight because he doesn't go for them. We know, my money can go on the guy that I know for sure is going to go in there and wrestle. I know for a fact. Remember, we talk IQ, Carol Rosa, Andre Fili. At least I fucking know Bryce Mitchell is going to go in there and fucking wrestle for me, right? So I put my money where I know. So I can guarantee that Bryce will go in there and wrestle. So yeah, Bryce got my money.
All right, guys, moving on. The next fight, we got Tony Ferguson's retirement fight. That's me saying that, sorry. All right, we got Tony Ferguson, the underdog, 26-9, absolute legend, plus 240 underdog, coming in against Paddy the Baddy Pimblett, 20-3, minus 300 favorite. Very hard to say Paddy is a minus 300 favorite after his last performance, after all his performances. I mean, the guy is not a true contender. He is never going to be the champion, but given the right matchups, he does have some decent grappling chops. Not world class, the best, but he is a good grappler. He is, and he is way younger. He is fairly durable. He's going to be the quicker guy. His reaction time, durability, everything leads me to say Paddy the Paddy Pimblett is going to take him down, and he's going to submit him or get the decision at least. He's going to get the top position, and he's going to win this fight. And the sad thing is for Ferguson, there's nowhere to go after this, because not only is that 7 losses in a row, it's also he did a crazy training camp for this fight. He got a special trainer. He did like intense, super crazy training. So if you can't win off this training camp, he's never winning again. Like, so it's sad to say. I would love for Tony Ferguson to get an elbow across Paddy's face and just gash him and bleed him up and win the. I'd love to see it, but there's no chance I think it's going to happen, and there's no chance I'm betting on it. Paddy minus 300. What I like is Paddy by decision or submission minus 140. You're going from minus 300 to minus 140. I don't think he's winning by knockout. He's winning by grinding and takedowns or a submission. So Paddy, submission, decision, minus 140. That's my favorite play. I like it a lot, actually. What do you see?
I see this fight with Tony on the ground a lot. I also see that him not getting up because unfortunately, in this Legends last few fights, maybe like the last 3 or 4, he's been wet blanketed quite a bit. And I'm surprised Charles Oliveira wasn't able to tap him. But Bobby Green tapping him was kind of fucking weird. But so like the submission looks good at plus 275, to be honest with you. And your decision submission line looks good as well. And Paddy just straight up at minus 300, as much as I hate to hurt it. He might only need 1 takedown. He might need only, if he's going to go to decision, he'll only need 3 takedowns. Dude, I don't see Tony getting up. I don't see Tony doing some sort of fucking triangle from the bottom. Like just retire, man. Like I loved you, but just it's hard to watch now. This isn't like watching Sam Alvey, who I didn't give a crap about. This is like watching like an actual fighter that I liked. So,
Buddy, I love Chuck Liddell. How many times can you watch the guy get KO'd or whatever? Like, it's like, man, stop this. Fucking stop. Dana, company, at some point, step in. Give this guy a walk-away bonus or whatever. Be like, dude, you're done. Here's a check for your services. Enjoy life, man, while you still can.
Yeah.
Sorry to cut you off, buddy.
No, I'm done. I'm done. That's all I like. I'm just sad that I want to bet on Paddy. That's all. It's like you can hear
right? Yes. Yeah,
sad.
for the record, I don't like Paddy. I don't like him.
But like if you break down the tape and you break down the way their careers are going, it's rest in peace, Tony Ferguson.
Yeah. All right, guys, moving on to the featured fight of the night. Great fight. We've got Shavkat Rakhmonov, 17-0 with 17 finishes. I think he's the biggest favorite on the card. He's coming in at minus 600 against Stephen Wonderboy Thomas, 17-6-1, the plus 450 underdog. Huge discrepancy. It's almost blatant disrespect to Wonderboy, but it's because that's how good Shavkat is. I mean, is he an American wrestler that's going to take him down at will? No, but I think he still probably could take him down pretty easily, I think. But he's so big. He's long, he's rangy, he's strong, he walks through punches. I think he can win this fight any way he wants, and I think he gets that 18th finish in a row. So give me Shavkat. As far as plays, I'm not playing minus 600. That's ridiculous. My favorite play would be... let me see what the double play submission knockout comes in at.
Minus 225.
I probably will play it some way or another. I do think he's going to finish the fight, unless he's going to be Mr. Friendly and let Wonderboy off. But I just don't think I think he's going to want to keep that finish streak alive. So I'll take him to win the fight by finish. What do you think?
I think he wins any way he wants to. I wish I could get some takedown lines on this fight. Maybe DraftKings will have it up later on in the week, but Shavkat most takedowns. That's one I like. Uh, Something about the over 1.5 is showing at me at the minus 130 mark. I know Shavkat finishes, but these fights are getting a little bit harder. So, like he took out to third round to finish Jeff Neal the last time. I think Wonderboy just gets knocked the fuck out in the first round. I mean, I don't know. Can he get close enough to him in the first round to take him down? Maybe. That's the thing, right? So Jeff Neal sports an 87% takedown defense, and Stephen Thompson does not. And people are saying that, Shavkat's wrestling didn't look that good against Jeff Neal, but it's tough. You got to go fight the fight because Thompson got taken down by some of the best too. And I do think Shavkat can sub him. So I like the Shavkat submission at plus 120. But all in all, this is a pass on the bet. I mean, if you really want to juice a parlay up, like a 10, like an eighter or a sixer, you can add Shavkat in there, but maybe throw him in a DFS lineup, but he's fucking expensive there too. He's just a really expensive guy this week. So do what you want with him. I think he wins. I don't
Oh,
really
yeah,
love anything.
I think he's the real deal. He will be the champion of that division. All right, moving on. We got the co-main event, Alexander Pantoja. We got him coming in at 26-5, the minus 188 favorite against 15-6, Brandon Royval, the plus 162 underdog. I like Pantoja. I like Pantoja submission plus 140. But you know what? Royval is a wild guy, man. He's on a heater. He's found a little streak here. He's got momentum. He believes in himself, and he's a finisher. So if he wins, he's going to catch him in something, some kind of finish. I mean, Pantoja's never been subbed, so it's hard to say you think he's going to submit Pantoja. But Pantoja does gas. He does get sloppy as hell. He does shoot bad takedowns, and he has been dropped numerous times. So I could see like some world where he does get some kind of finish. I mean, Pantoja multiple times in those Marino fights looked done, and then the next round he came back a new guy. So minus 188 favorite. I'm almost liking the under 3.5 rounds, minus 250, and you cover both sides because I do think Royval is kind of a front runner. He's either going to finish you or he gets finished. I don't see this fight going 5 rounds. I don't think he's got that Brandon Marino heart, chin, any of that. So I think an early submission from either side is live. And I think your conservative bet is, I think it's conservative, under 3.5 rounds, minus 250, cover both sides. What do you see here?
Pantoja round 2 plus 500. Pantoja round 3 plus 750. Pantoja straight money line.
I
Listen,
can see round 1. I swear to God.
I don't know about round 1. That one's kind of like hardcore. But I won't doubt this guy. Like he's 3-0 against Brandon Moreno. Everyone was doubting him in that fight when he already had 2 wins against the guy, and he won. He's already got a win against Royval, and it was only a couple years ago. How can I doubt the guy again?
So something about that, not to ramble on further, but it was on my Facebook feed, and it said it was posted. I think it was by the UFC or by someone, and it said, "Oh, Pantoja dominates Royval," and so I'm like, all right, I clicked on it just to rewatch the fight. It was very far from a domination. That fight was back and forth. It was very close. That first round, back and forth, 100%. Pantoja did not look good in that fight, and I just think that Royval has gotten better since then. So this fight does scare me a little bit. But Pantoja should be the better fighter. I do agree Pantoja's the side, but Royval is dangerous too.
That fight was Pantoja early in the first round. Royval might have stole the first round. And then, but the thing about Royval, and this is what he does, is that his fight IQ isn't the greatest sometimes because he puts himself into situations where he does get tapped or where he does get in trouble. So that's something Pantoja won't do. And for all the intents and purposes that Pantoja looks tired, he always comes back and fights harder, right? So he might look tired, but he's not really tired. How many times he looked tired in the Moreno fight? And then he just ends up taking him down and wet blanketing him for another fucking round. Pantoja's my pick. I'm not going to flip on this one. Let's go to my favorite fight.
I got it. All right, here we go. I think we are going to disagree on this one, but that's what this is all about. All right, moving on to the main event. We got the champion that nobody likes, myself included. We got Leon Edwards. He is, oh, sorry, buddy. I don't know why I can't.
Minus 160.
No, I know that. I'm trying to pull up his record here. I don't know what the hell's going on.
Oh,
I know he's got a good record, 20-3 or something shit like that.
what is
Uh,
it? I don't know.
Sorry, my computer just crashed. Whatever. We got Leon Edwards versus Colby Covington. You know who they both are. I believe they both have 3 losses. They both have very good records. Odds are close, like you just said. Leon Edwards -160. Colby Covington coming in at +130. Here's the thing. I know a lot of people think Covington's going to gas him out the entire bout. The relentless pace and wrestling and takedown attempts, and it's very real. It's a possibility. Absolutely. There's a reason the odds are close. But as the week's gone on, I can't help but think Leon's just a far superior striker. I rewatched some of those Colby fights. Colby versus Masvidal, his striking looked atrocious, like atrocious. So I think Leon is miles better striker. Unless he gasses out, and it's possible, maybe those takedowns catch up to him, or like the cage fighting, all that grinding, maybe it catches up to him. So fair play. You're on Colby. I'm rooting for Colby. I don't like Leon Edwards. I do not like Leon Edwards. But I actually think there's a lot of value on Leon Edwards. I think he's just a far, far, far superior striker. And I'm not convinced that he'll be blanketed. I hope I'm wrong. I hope I'm wrong, but I am going Leon Edwards all day here. I'm going to be playing a lot of money on him. Yeah, and even a knockout wouldn't surprise me. As durable as Colby's been, he's been so inactive. I don't think we're seeing Colby's best, and I think Leon is getting better. So I'm big on the Leon side, and you're going to tell us why you're big on the Colby side and what you see.
Well, I like the Colby side a lot, and I like the Colby by decision a lot because aside from that last fight with Leon, every all the people that have taken him down have been able to hold him there for like periods of time. That last fight was the only time where he actually showed a good get up. So before, when Usman took him down in the first fight like 5 times, he was able to gain about 10 to 11 minutes of control time on the ground, right? So, and before that, same thing. Every time he got taken down, he was getting controlled. So he has shown improvement. Don't get me wrong. And I know Kobe only fights once a year, but he always fights well once a year. Like he's done this over the last period of 4 years or so. Fights once or twice a year. I just think he was so competitive against Usman, and I know Leon. Listen, let's put it this way. I think Colby's won more rounds against Usman than Leon's won against Usman, right? Let's be honest here. So,
I agree.
yeah, so I like him in the spot. A lot of money's coming in on Leon, and I like that. I like it pushing up Kobe to a bigger dog. And when the public goes on that guy, I like to fucking fade him. I might not fade him amazingly huge, but like I would put a decent sized bet on Kobe. I like the wrestling here. I think he's the better athlete. I think he's the busier striker. Leon, the volume is just so bad. That 84 he threw in the last fight was the most he's ever thrown in the UFC. Kobe does that with his left hand. So, like, the volume's not on his side. So, unless he sits him down, which is quite possible, but Kobe doesn't get sit down like that much. It's possible. Yeah, I like Kobe Covington. I like the relentless wrestling. And Leon, my problem with him is like he's so accepting of bad positions and he doesn't show as much what's the word I'm looking for? Like tenacity to get out of bad positions. Like he let Usman hold him up against the side for so long. He lets people hold him places. It's not good because Kobe will just hold you there. Kobe will take you down. Kobe will do all this. He'll ragdoll you. Maybe Leon's better than I give him credit for, but I like the odds on Kobe. I don't think I'll ever see it again. Leon's been a favorite of like the -160, 150 a few times in his career. So it doesn't make him any much more like attractive as a price for me. I like Kobe. I like the relentless pressure.
If Leon can be broken, he will be broken here. So we're gonna find out.
Yep.
I rewatched, like, it's tough to say judge off one fight, but it's also fair to say you got to watch the last fight. Like the most relevant fight is your last fight, and Colby's striking was terrible. Like his hands were atrocious. I thought he was a good striker. I thought, oh, he struck with Usman for 10 rounds or not, whatever. Like, yeah, he looked good. He was very competitive. That Masvidal fight, his hands were terrible. So I mean, that's all my only basis off that. I just think Leon's the far superior striker, far superior. But hey, maybe Leon can be broken. We're gonna find out. It's gonna be fun. It's gonna be good.
All right.
All right, guys. I hope you all smash. And hey, it's a great card. Everybody have a great Saturday night, and we'll see you guys for the next one. Good luck.
Later.